From a warehouse basement on the wrong side of the tracks, this is D.
I don't have a drink.
I don't. Do you need something?
I don't have a drink.
Okay?
Are you just gonna start?
And Candy V.
I'm fine.
Can't
I
do
think
philosophy without some whiskey
That's
to lubricate
what
the
we
old
usually
noggin.
have. Yeah, you lubricate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Episode 10. Superstitions and the longing for control.
Well, I'll start with baseball.
Oh, my favorite.
Yes, indeed. For the record, D doesn't like baseball very much. So I'm watching Game 7 of the World Series with my dad and son at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because it's like 3 generations of Dodger fans together. Never had anything like that before. And it was a very intense game. This was high drama baseball.
Okay.
And ulcer-inducing stressful situations. And I found myself falling into ritual patterns that I've carried with me related to sports my whole life. And one of which was like my daughters, who weren't that interested in the game, would maybe occasionally make like a negative comment about what was happening.
Yeah.
And in the pit of my stomach, I felt that their bad attitudes would affect the outcome of the baseball game going on hundreds of miles away from here.
Right. Very logical thing to think, yeah.
Right. And I remember thinking that as a kid, that if I had to believe,
Yeah.
because if I didn't, it would somehow influence
It's like Santa, yeah.
them, right? And baseball is a very superstitious game in general. When there's the phenomenon of the rally cap, you got to turn your hat inside out.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden you'll be magical. You jump over the chalk line, otherwise you'll have bad luck and stuff like that. And it just made me think of all the little things in life that I find even myself still to this day sometimes falling into these like completely illogical belief patterns that are just like some kind of comfort mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was wondering. I want to break it out of sports. This is not that podcast, folks. I was wondering if that brings anything to mind for you of like little superstitious beliefs that make no sense.
Totally, yeah. One of them, I don't know how many, but the one that you just said about them having negative thoughts or negative insults to the game affects the reality. That's how I think about speaking. What is it? My mom used to call it something. It was something about like, it's what the secret is.
Manifesting.
Yeah, manifesting. Yeah, right.
Law of attraction.
Yeah. So when you speak something that it happens, right? Like you're putting it out into the world. And so, like one of the things I would do is if I'm like singing a song or something like that out loud with something, if it does something that I don't want, like we're talking about killing an individual or something, then say in a rap song or something, and I'll skip over that part, or I'll change the lyric to not be killed, but rather something else.
Because you don't want to cast a spell.
Because I don't want to cast a spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's stopped, I think, more or less most recent years. But yeah, that is something that's stuck with me for a while.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I did a little reading up on superstition and the phenomenon of it. And that it almost always tends to be related to things that are outside of our control, and the human brain being always a pattern-seeking machine.
Yeah.
Doesn't care if the patterns are true.
Right.
It just wants to find a pattern to enforce some kind of meaning and sense of control onto something.
Totally.
And the less control you have over something, the more it will push to make you feel like you have control, even if there's no chance.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's silly. I know that a lot of my family have. This is interesting. A lot of my family have superstitions, but they wouldn't qualify them as superstitions. One of them is homeopathic, right? Where she talks about stones and
crystals
and all that, lighting sage and those kinds of things. And then there's witchcraft, which is in both my wife and my sister-in-law have practiced in their own way.
Are they comfortable with you outing them as witches?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They both have been burned already at the stake. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Rip.
But like even like, and I've talked to people who have practiced witchcraft before about like why they do it, and it's very much, you can just tell it's a control thing, right? There was one person who talked about casting while she's cooking. And she's like, and whenever I cast when I cook, it's just so much better. The food tastes so much better. I'm like, well, of course it does. You think about it.
Yeah. I guess like tarot cards would be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's giving you another sense of a layer of control over the randomness of life, you know?
Right. Astrology is another one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about this recently. Well, he's specifically talking about like woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
And he said the next time I hear someone say that a crystal has energy, I'm going to lose my mind, because literally crystals are the least energetic thing on planet Earth.
That's funny.
Like,
that's really funny.
And he had the whole reason for why, like, there are some physical items that might contain more energy than others, but that a crystal is like the definition of nothing, no activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I hate bringing up my mom because it's just the most familiar example to me. Mm-hmm. But you
could use a fictitious person. Call her Madre.
Okay. So yeah, Yerba Madre is this, she has magnetic bracelets.
Sure. Yeah.
She has infrared light stuff. And there's
you're just ruining our potential sponsors for this show, man.
She actually even texted me one time talking about burning sage or not what was it? Yeah, smudging, burning sage.
Yeah.
That it qualifies as an actual antibacterial for the air. And I actually looked that up because I was really curious, and I was like, "Oh, is that actually true?" Because that's cool when it has like a crossover with science. And smudging doesn't, but there is another type of smudging that people do with other herbs that does have an antibacterial thing, and people have just conflated the two and said, "Yeah, burning some sort of anything around you makes it antibacterial." And, yeah.
So here's the interesting thing then.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, is that we can laugh at ourselves over superstitious beliefs because we understand that you don't have control, and that's okay. And it's all nihilists be chill, okay? Nihilists are all right. We're fine. But we don't believe in anything.
It's all good.
But this was part of the article I read, was that it's been proven that holding superstitions is good for you,
for confidence levels, and for
and like
courage,
reducing stress.
Absolutely.
And there's like an overall benefit,
right,
to maintaining these illogical false beliefs that have no real implication on the world, but actually have a real impact on the individual.
Sure. I would completely agree with that. I would disagree that everybody would benefit from it. For example, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I don't think would benefit from having a Lucky Charm in his pocket or something.
Not just having it, I think it's believing it.
Exactly.
At least at that, like, almost subconscious level.
Right, right.
Pit of your stomach, there's a piece of you that goes, well, that guy has a gun. I'm going to count my rosary beads or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, because I do the same thing, not in I don't tie my belief to an object, but I tie my belief to a mindset, right? And it's basically the same thing. I mean, if you're just one of them, you have an object that changes your mindset, and one of them you don't. So, for example, if I hear a threatening noise, something loud in my house at night, then I put on a brave face and I think of myself as a tough person, and then I go out and face whatever the noise was. And it's like, that's the same thing as you're like, oh, okay, let me grab my, protection gem, stick it in my pocket, and I'll be good.
There's layers there, though, because are you suggesting that put on your brave face thing comes from anywhere other than yourself?
That's a hard question to answer,
right?
but it is external in the same way that actors would consider acting external, right? Where you would say it's like I guess acting is a better term for it for me, because if I were to say that I'm going out to face whatever threat that is, I think regularly just being myself, it feels like I'd be curious and I'd probably be skittish, with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where I have faced threats in my house before. People have come into my house and, without permission, and caused conflicts that way. But I've been ready for it in a way that I'm like playing a character who's ready for it, and then later on reflect and be like, oh, shit, something crazy happened. I'm glad that I did that. Yeah. And it's just a mindset change. It's usually automatic for me, but it's something that I do realize happens,
So you're able to kind of pretend and thereby essentially give yourself a sense of control over the situation that you didn't have control over, really.
That's how I would picture it. And I think most people do it with things like interviews also, right? You go into there and you put on the professional, right? It's the professional Kenny that comes in, and it's them that talks to everybody, as opposed to the studio Kenny who's here painting out, That's how I would see it, for me anyway.
So I think there's a layer less. That's one layer more authentic.
Yeah.
Because at least you're acknowledging that you made that happen inside yourself.
As
opposed to
as
picking up a
like,
lucky charm,
like
or
a faith in something.
Or jumping over the crack in the ground,
right?
Or counting 10 times something.
Before
you talk.
It's not as superstitious for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Not tying it to an object.
But they do that. But you're right. They do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess the idea of a superstition is to trick yourself into accessing something inside yourself.
Right. Yeah. That's how I would say it. Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose there's no harm in that.
Well, what's funny about that is it's almost backwards in my mind with praying. I know when I was younger, I had a lot of anxiety. I have this thing about noises at night that for some reason just freak me out. And when I was
That's really weird.
I know, it's really strange.
I've never heard anyone say that before.
It's super weird.
Most people are very comforted by strange noises at night. We love it.
When I was a kid, and I would hear something like that, the heater coming on or some shit, I don't know. I would start praying as if, to protect myself from any outside threats and whatever. And you would think that I would find comfort in that, but it only increased the anxiety. I remember specifically when I'm praying, that gave confirmation to the threat that I was facing. So that made it real.
Yeah, so you're just validating the threat.
Yeah.
You're telling your subconscious, I am acknowledging that I am out of my league.
Right. In a way, you're letting yourself know that you don't have control. That's interesting.
Now, but were you a believer in God at the time?
Yeah.
See that's almost like an opposite lucky charm.
Right.
Because you genuinely believe that something outside of you is the only thing that can help.
Intervene. Exactly.
Right. But you can't.
Right.
Right.
It's like a letting yourself know that it's not even Yeah, well, what you just said, basically. Yeah.
Well, and then you have to, at some level, even as a believer, also know that God doesn't always intervene.
Right.
Right? There's ample experience, right? Every believer, I'm sure, knows that sometimes God's will is not our will.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know his ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. When my religiosity was fading, but I was still in, you know?
Religiosity.
I think that was the right word.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
When it was fading, but I was still in,
Mm-hmm.
I had given up on many of the like day-to-day aspects of faith. You know, I wasn't like regularly praying or reading scripture or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when my kid had the 104 fever,
Sure.
right, or what looked like might be a broken bone and no health insurance,
Right.
all of a sudden prayer would come back.
Yeah.
And it sort of lived in both those spaces. It was like,
That's interesting.
it was like, please, some intervene, help me.
Right.
You know, I know I'm doubting you're there now, but if there was a time for you to be real, it's now, please, kind of thing. But also, it was like, it was like that touchstone of like the lucky charm of be like, what else can I do at this point? I'm not a doctor. I've done everything I can do.
Yeah.
So I need something to make me feel like I'm still doing something.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it too. It's like I need to believe that I'm matter in this situation. like I can't function as being that helpless.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Which is what people do at baseball games. Because they can't run on the field and catch the ball. They can't hit the ball. They have no end, and they're not as good.
I know that when I would watch basketball when I was younger, when someone shoots, you know, you just hope it goes in. I mean, that's not irregular. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to think that you have a parasocial connection with something that, you know, I mean, like even on TV, it's already happened.
Sure. Yeah. There's a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the delay is shocking because, like, with cellular technology, I have like game updates. I get like text messages or just notifications on my phone whenever like the score changes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to remember now to turn that off when I watch a game on TV, because otherwise it pops up before. And so I'm sitting here like on the edge of my seat. Oh, please, don't strike out. Don't strike out. Boop, strikes out. Shit.
I wanted the hope.
And like they're like 2 pitches behind, and like my whole family's all still on the edge of their seat, and I'm just like, oh.
guys.
Yeah.
You already struck
And
out.
they're like, they look at me and they're like, did you? They know. They're like, you already know. Don't. Oh, damn it. He's not happy.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It's like, it might as well be cheering for a movie.
Right.
You know, something that's already been made. Yeah. And yet there's still that piece of me that wants to think I'm like connected.
Yeah,
somehow.
that you're somehow, that parasocial thing.
Yeah. And then here's another funny thing is that people will try to their brain will not only make them feel that way in the moment, but even after the fact, try to make them feel like that was real.
Oh, interesting.
And that it mattered.
Yeah, that they, yeah.
Yeah, and because I've had this conversation with people who maybe are a little more inclined to believing in things less grounded in reality.
Sure.
I'll say. And they would say like, well, you don't know, you know, like there's the butterfly effect, you know, every little thing you do might matter, and there's, you know, quantum physics, like, you know, what
Quantum physics.
you know how they just throw around quantum physics like it covers everything, but they're like, you know, quantum physics, if you got millions of people all focusing on the same positive thought about what's happening in the game at the same time, that's going to make a difference, you know.
Right.
And that's because like their brain still wants it to remain valid.
Sure.
Even though they're not in the stressful situation anymore.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating.
That is interesting. Yeah, to think about it that retroactively, if you had control, maybe if you're proven to yourself, then you're going, oh yeah, then it'll work again later.
Yeah.
I caused that to happen. because it's a learning thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we associate superstition more so, I think, with childhood
Yeah.
than anything else, right? Step on a crack and break your mother's back and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I literally would avoid every crack on the sidewalk.
Yeah. And when you're a kid, that stuff really, really makes it sinks in, right? And you think about it all the time.
Yeah.
And so step back now and ask yourself why. It's like, oh, what happens as you get older? Well, hopefully you gradually get more and more of a sense of control over your world around you.
Right.
Right? Never perfect, but much more than when you're a child.
Right.
And so when you don't really have any control over your life as a 8-year-old, you would have these superstitions popping up all over because it gives you that sense of control.
That's really interesting, yeah, because you do have a lot more control when you grow older, but you certainly don't have all the control.
Well, no, I face things I can't control every day.
Yeah.
But back then, I had no say on when I woke up and went to bed and what I ate and what clothes I wore,
Yeah.
So
that's super interesting.
So that's the fertile ground for tons of superstition.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which then begs the question, like, when you, what gives rise to people, to adults who still very much cling to superstition as adults, like a lot. And I don't mean just popping up during a sports game, but it's, sort of permeates their everyday life. What's going on with them?
That's really hard for me to identify with because I do know people like that, but it's hard for me to even understand from their perspective. I just don't know. I mean, like, I know, like you said, we've had things as kids, and I've had that same kind of idea, right, where I do have superstitions about certain things, or I had them when I was a kid. And it was all the classic stuff, all the stuff that's been told to me, like, don't walk underneath a ladder.
Black cats.
Yeah, black cats, or the salt over your shoulder, clear curses or whatever. So I don't know. That kind of stuff did stick with me as a kid, but I do know that there's a lot of people that still cling on to things like that, and I don't understand why. So I can't identify, so I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm throwing out is like, does that then suggest that they never developed a sense of control in the world?
Right.
You know?
I don't know.
And why not?
Yeah. Actually, this is kind of related. The game that I made, the door problem, kind of has that in it. The idea of trying to control what you can't. So you've played the game.
Yeah, I didn't finish it.
No, but
someone told me it's not a fun game.
It's not a fun game. The point of the game, for people listening, you go through a series of doors and a series of rooms, and there's 2 doors in each room, and each one has an exit sign, and you press a button to get a hint, and then the exit signs scramble into noise. It's just a bunch of dots, a bunch of pixels, and then you get a hint about which door is correct, and the hints are random. And this is a spoiler for the game because it doesn't matter, but it's important for this conversation. The hints, because they're random, and the exit signs themselves are also random, so that nothing matches, and it does not matter which one you pick. It really does not matter.
Right. So it's an exercise in futility.
Yeah, but the player doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And when they look at the signs, they're conditioned at this point to know that one of them is correct and one of them is wrong. So when you look at something like constellations, and then you look at the 2 noise, and you're trying to project what it is that you believe should be the correct one, and then it works, that's when you go, oh, okay, I have to look for that, and then you continue that way. There was people that had gave me player feedback about how they found a different pattern, like one that wasn't next to the signs. They like followed some sort of texture on the wall or something, or counted something.
Just something you didn't even intend.
Yeah, and that led to the correct door each time until it didn't, because it breaks down. But that's the point. But yeah, it's that yearning for, I control something and I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the pattern.
Yeah.
that's another way that a lot of superstitions develop, is that a thing that was not caused happens while you were doing something.
Confirmation bias, right?
Right, and so that now becomes the cause in your mind.
Right.
And so you'll repeat that over and over again.
Yeah, one of my favorite things on the internet is I can't remember what the website's called, but it's random association, basically, where they take two graphs of data that are completely unrelated but have the same curve, and then put it together and say, look, one caused the other. So it was like people who died getting people who died in car crashes with the amount of people who got tangled up in sheets because of a fire that was nearby or something like that, and they tried to escape or something. It's like that kind of weird correlation, and you're like, oh, it looks like it's the same curve, right? So one caused the other. It's just really funny to think about that kind of stuff, because scientifically it does not matter.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias. That might be worth a whole another episode. But it's fascinating. I was having this talk with my kids because my daughters claim to have had a supernatural experience.
Oh, fun.
Okay. And it was because, according to them, on the same night, each of them had the same experience where they heard their name whispered in their ear while alone in bed. And one of them told the other, and the other one went, what the heck? That happened to me too. Oh, okay. Conclusion, ghosts are real.
Right.
And they visited us last night and whispered our names.
Right.
For some reason.
Yeah.
For the ghosts' reasons.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. And they like to bring this up whenever I rain on their parade, so to speak. They're like, yeah, well, how do you explain this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't.
Quantum physics.
I said, I don't have an explanation. But why would it mean ghosts?
Yeah.
It's like you've been told stories about ghosts, and you see something you don't explain, and then you go, oh, well, must be ghosts, right? You're raised being told that there's a all-father in the sky who controls everything, and so then as soon as you don't understand something, you default to, oh, that's God then.
Right.
Right. And like we have a lot of like pre-programmed, like you see something in the sky you can't explain. Aliens, it has to be alien. It's like, whoa, hold on. We're just throwing out an infinite amount of potential explanations.
Absolutely, yeah.
For one,
yeah,
because you were told at some point that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. What you're talking about is what I think is known as conspiracy theorists. What is it called? Anyway, it's a method of coming up with a reason of something.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're a scientist, or when you're doing something with science, you're usually forming a hypothesis and then you're proving it wrong. You're trying to see how it can be proved wrong.
Right.
Whereas conspiracy theorists is opposite.
They do the opposite.
Yeah.
They only look for what proves it right.
Right. And that is on the basis unscientific.
Religions do it too.
Yeah. What's that?
Religions do it too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's by definition unscientific. So it's hard for people, I think, who think scientifically to agree with any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I'm like, oh my God. Here I was just saying that superstitions are mostly a kid's thing, right? And that's because we don't see adults saying don't step on cracks.
Sure.
We see adults saying conspiracy theories.
Right.
That is the grown-up superstition. It's the exact same phenomenon, right?
The thing that's been going on with, I don't know if you follow 3i Atlas, the comet that came.
Oh, well, fill me in. I've heard a little about it.
So it's the third interstellar object that we know of that's passed in our solar system. And because it's interstellar, it's different from what we're used to. So it's carrying materials and stuff that we haven't seen collected here before. And so it's passing through our solar system right now, and it just passed the sun. But what was so interesting about it is that when it came in, one, it's a comet, so it's really interesting to look at because it has a tail.
Yeah,
and
it's shedding off content.
Sublimation, all kinds of cool stuff. But one thing that comets do when they get next to a really bright or a really strong heat source like the sun is they have what's called an anti-tail, which means that their sublimation process, which is solid ice into gas,
Okay.
goes toward the heating source. And when you have a comet that looks like it's going one way, but its tail is going the same way,
Interesting.
is
So
really
it looks like it's
weird.
going backwards.
Yeah, so it's called an anti-tail. And people look at stuff like that, the fact that it's interstellar, the fact that it's going past the sun on the opposite side of the earth, and they see all that and they go, oh, aliens, aliens, aliens. And it's that unscientific approach. It's the approach where we're proving something that should be proved wrong. And we're trying to prove it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Seriously. Yeah. And apparently, see if I can remember this. I don't remember the actual statistics involved, but during times of tumult, in particularly, bad, difficult times of disaster, economic collapses, conspiracy theories go through the roof.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's just a clear correlation. You'd feel like you have no control, and so your brain starts telling stories to make you feel like you have control to protect you from going crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny as you say that now, I'm realizing that there's some people that are close to me that also, I wouldn't call it conspiracy, but I know that they form thoughts in their mind about specific people, for example, Trump, and talk about how much they dislike the person. And that, for some reason, helps them realize that this person is a bad person and they should be put out of office, which is fine. I mean, maybe Trump does. I don't care. The point being is that they're doing confirmation bias with the idea that, that person's a terrible person, and they just keep feeding themselves negativity to go, that's this is the right thing that needs to happen, is they need to be out of office.
You see it a lot in politics, I think, because the stakes are high and you want the comfort of knowing you're on the right team.
For sure.
But that then flies in the face of, one, that all people are fallible in some way.
Yeah.
And two, no one set of ideologies is the same, right? So like there's never a person that actually acts the way you do.
Right.
So you're going to make up a story for why they're right even when you feel like it's wrong.
Yeah.
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 You see that a ton. Especially when people are like kind of super devoted to their person.
See, that makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then they get challenged, and they're like, he said this, right?
Right.
And, they bring up some real terrible thing that was said, and then they go, whoa, here's my story for why that's actually okay.
Right. Right. Yeah. That kind of stuff does, I really don't like that kind of stuff, but I can't justify, I guess, why it would be better to think about, I don't know, something different as opposed to that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I suppose I get a little more empathy for that kind of thing when I think of it as like a natural response of your limbic system,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because, we have our fight and flight response, which actually breaks down into more categories than just fighting and fleeing.
When you're flighting, yeah. Flighting.
Yeah, when we're threatened with death, we either fight or we grow wings.
Yes, and we fly away.
Yeah. So logic disappears. The frontal cortex kind of shuts off in favor of this limbic system taking over.
Yeah.
And it will make you either fight back in a way that you probably never would have in your life, run like you never thought possible.
Right.
It might make you want to just lay down or hide or be quiet or make yourself small. It's a freeze response. It's also just buried deep inside of your limbic system. And I think another example of these kind of pre-programmed patterns is that kind of storytelling, myth making, and meaning giving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably a parallel.
I'd say so, yeah. We talked about how everything is traced back to survivorship anyway.
Yeah. So if I in a moment can actually remind myself that that's what's going on, then I suppose I can have more empathy.
Maybe, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Well, I would continue this thought longer, but I have a superstition about the lengths of an episode.
Right. It can't go over 37 minutes.
We have to be done before we hit the 37-minute mark. So we better get out of here.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go put on my tinfoil hat.
You have been eavesdropping on D and Candy V. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, review, and share. And do feel free to drop by again soon. D and Candy will always be here, waiting for you, in a warehouse basement on the wrong side of the tracks.